So the ghost that we get in chapter 10, I'm going to keep this video very short, is Robert's wife. We can piece together that Robert, her former husband, is a solid spirit somewhere in the high countries. And the solid spirit that comes down to meet her at the bus stop is Robert's mother, so her former mother-in-law. Um, and what we see, she's a very annoying ghost, very super chatty and talkative, very self-righteous. She talks about how she always did my duty with Robert, always kept him in line, always did a good job of taking care of him. But what we see is that she didn't actually love her husband as much as she loved controlling somebody. What we see with her relationship with Robert is that there wasn't actually a love for him as a person as much as there was a love of her playing God, having someone to control, having someone to manipulate, having someone to bend and conform in a certain way to the way that she wanted him to be. And so as she rambles on, we see that she didn't really actually love Robert. That she actually kind of drove him to destruction. She changed his friends because she didn't like them. She took away his one hobby of writing because she was like, well, it's not good for you. You need to be out picking up another shift and making us money and buying a house, and then you'll be happy. And she completely neglected him as an actual person and instead desired the idea of a husband, the reflection of a husband rather than the reality of Robert himself. So to kind of go back to what we talked about at the end of chapter 9, she desired the reflection of the thing, the idea of a husband to control and manipulate rather than the actual person. And so what she ultimately chooses in chapter 10, instead of choosing to stay in heaven, what she chooses is that she wants to play God. She says, I must have a free hand. Instead of giving up all of her rights, instead of choosing to serve in heaven, she decides to go back in hell because she wants to control him. Um, and so it's never exactly depicted that she, jumps on the bus and goes back, but it's alluded to. And I think what's interesting is she eventually goes up in a puff of smoke. She completely disappears. And my best idea there is that, like the grumbler from chapter 9, she is no longer a grumbler, but a grumble. That one little spark, if there's a spark of the good left in her, it can be blown like you do with a fire, and it can come back to life. But she has completely neglected all true love for her husband, and in accordance, all true love for anything other than herself. Uh, and that being so, she's lost her chance. Right? There's nothing left for her. There's nothing left of her to be saved and to be revived. And so she just goes up in a plume of smoke. And she's the first ghost that we actually see who is, I guess, annihilated, for lack of a better word, because there's nothing left in her um, to be revived.